catch-up video because why not, right? Let's just pop in. So it's been a minute. I always say that when I start this. I started this channel as The Journey to Happiness. Thank you for being here. It was the most brilliant thing I've ever done in my entire life. I am definitely getting there. Not just because of the YouTube channel, but it's just the focus. Like I started a TikTok to really yell at people, right? Because I don't like being antagonistic. It's not my nature, but I definitely needed growth in that skill area to be able to hold my center for where I'm going in other places. Like I started my own company. I'm back in grad school. I graduate in May. I think when we started this, I haven't even gone to grad school yet. And so I'm almost through grad school. Like how freaking amazing. And I've been working hard to start this company. It's starting. Like I had the best week ever. I booked clients. I'm starting to really be able to produce results with clients. And I'm seeing how my sort of path and passion for systemic change truly starting to become a real manifestation and my ability to step into it. And for the first time this week, I have to share, I couldn't say it right because I read Abraham all the time, but I was so excited the last couple of days. I was like to my husband, I'm becoming all that I've become, but I couldn't let it. I'll read it here. It says, it's all about you allowing yourself to keep up with what the larger part of you has become. This is vibrational alignment, feels like relief, from The Amazing Power of Emotions. I just opened it this morning and it's talking about how in order to get vibrational alignment, you can't worry about anything outside of you. It's all about what's going on inside. And so it's so hard about the journey to happiness is you have to start to realize you have to find a way to get happy regardless of what's happening. And it's 2025. I mean, what a year. Thank God I was preparing for a year and a half before that, right? Because now it's like, oh, well, that was a real chance to try and really work at, can I stay happy even when the world's falling apart? And what's really been happening the last few weeks, though, is because of all the other work I've been doing to catch up sort of some skills and strengthen other parts of myself, I'm starting to keep up with I'm starting to reach or get back to what the larger part of me has become. I'm feeling what that means. I've read it a million times. I've heard Abraham say so many times that the real goal is clarity and satisfaction, not money, that it's alignment. And I have to say, I couldn't have gotten it until I'm getting here. And now that I feel it and the way I've been feeling the last few days, I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better than money. This is 100% what I'm looking for, is this sense of satisfaction that I'm doing what I was made to do, that I love what I'm doing, that I'm fully who I am, that all the experience I've had before this, 45 years of study of spirituality and systemic change and supply chain and operations and technical and systems and so much all around the world is coming together where I can actually use it in my own company and vehicle to help others transform their businesses. It's transformational business coaching. And I, this week, the first random cold click client off LinkedIn, like that's an achievement, guys. I made a comment. I had changed my LinkedIn I'm doing all this cool branding stuff and I'm learning how to, I don't sell. I'm not going to sell. I refuse to. And I don't care if people don't like it me or when I say that or not. I want to connect with people emotionally and build the client relationship from there. I'm not going to pitch. I don't want a 30-second fucking commercial. Okay. I want to be able to say what I do in such a way that the people who need me hear it. And so anyway, so I'm doing all of that marketing work and I found someone that's really helping me do that. That's brilliant and bringing this whole other way of attracting and being with your clients and people. And at the same time, like all of these pieces, right, coming together and being able to speak to a client so that I made a comment on LinkedIn and someone saw it, saw my profile, clicked my booking link and booked me immediately and we're working together. That means that my cohesive energy and message of who I am and what I want to create is so clear that someone can literally jump online who never goes on LinkedIn, see a comment, a link, click me and want to work with me. That means that I'm becoming an aligned, vibrational being, because then when we got on the call, they completely were like, this is who I want to work with. They already had known. So it was like, we're already connected by the way I was presenting. There was no selling. There was no, you want to pay for this because of this. And I'm not going to charge outrageously. I'm going to charge something that's good money, but also is way cheaper than everyone else because I'm not going to rip people off. And I'm not going to tell them that $5,000 for 3 months of coaching is going to get them a real life fucking result, right? You need ongoing coaching, like for a while as we work through stuff, you have to build trust. There's so much to it. And if you really want to get deep in and really go for it with people, you have to be willing to get deep in with them. And that's who I'm about. I'm about systemic change on a long-term basis, and I'm becoming that function, you guys. And I wouldn't be here without you, without your input, without the TikTok channel letting me pop off like a psycho. I mean, I have to say that was huge. Like, starting a TikTok where I could be really inflammatory, because the people on there are very inflammatory and they'll say terrible things to you and make assumptions. They don't even watch the video, you know, they just make assumptions and say stuff. They're just trolling around. And I had such a fear of popping off. That was really important. So people would make a really insulting comment and I let myself pop off. And I'm sure, you know, kills the algorithm on the post. But they probably don't even read the comment. If they do, they'll read the first couple words and then be like, ah. And I wasn't debasing them as people, but I would let myself just get really passionate about my point, whatever they triggered, you know, about the point. And I would just let myself blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure I said more, I might have said something degrading about their intelligence or something, but I never say like, you're an idiot or you're, you know, like, I'm not an accusatory, but I can be passively accusatory. And highly passionate and direct in my comment response. But that was, and I did a few on here too, especially with the biblical stuff, because it's very important for me to develop that skill set, because that's where I'm going. And it was a safe place to practice. And there's no way I could step into being a powerful coach, especially with executives who are dealing with things like financial fraud, affairs, cover-ups. Like, I've been at that level and dealt with that. I know the internal fractures it causes. I've recovered from that. I'm not going to sit here with an executive and be like, oh, you have to do that because that's your job. I'm going to be like, wow, that must split you right down the middle. How's that working for you? Because I know it, right? You can't help people if you don't understand their real struggle and you keep them all wide-eyed, right? You have to like get in there. And that means you have to look at your own stuff. And then you have to build the strength to know, okay, not only do I have my own stuff, I've worked through my own stuff. And now I have the skill set to actually hold other people safely with their stuff, which means they can bring it to me and I can challenge them on it, but I don't judge them and make them wrong and shamed about it. There's no shame because I've worked with my shame. I had so much shame, my shame had shame. I have done a crap ton of work on shame. I do not carry shame like I did at all. And if you had met me even last year at this time, I would have had a much stronger shame energy, constant apologizing, right? But I'm working through that. That's such a gift. People are like, oh, that's so sad. No, I needed that shame because I needed the process to work through it so I can help other people with theirs. If I have active shame, people won't be safe with their shame with me because it's just too powerful. But if I'm good with it, I'm like, bring it here, baby. It doesn't trigger me, and I don't see you any different because of that, because I know it's not something bad about you. It's a situation you're in. It's what you've been told is the right thing to do. It's all of these various things. And as long as you're willing to see the choice you're making in this, you can realize you can make a new choice and you can restore your self-confidence and sense of esteem. You know, we gain self-esteem by esteemable acts. You have confidence when you can keep a confidence. And as long as you're destroying people underneath you or only, you know, doing what the company says or going against yourself, right, you're not going to have any confidence or esteem because you don't view those as acts of self-esteem and you don't view those. Every time you give away someone's secret, you lose confidence in yourself because you gave away your confidence. It's always a self-judgment piece. It's always a self-management piece. And people won't have confidence in you. You know, so you need to learn to keep a secret and you need to learn who to protect and how do you become safe for others? Well, in order for me to help people understand those things, I had to get there myself first. I have to be safe. I have to be clear. I have to know what I'm doing, what I'm building, where I'm going. And part of that is being willing to be what I'm not. That's really tricky for folks because people don't realize I've heard, actually I was in jail. If you can believe when I was in jail, my other cellmate that I had one time was also a life coach. I'm like, great, two of us in here. This is going real well. I wasn't really an active life coach. It was a while ago, right? Story for another time and a very good experience, okay? And important for me. I didn't hurt anyone. I wasn't in there because I hurt anyone, but I did break a law. And I was hurting deeply, right? So I got a lot of lessons around how that manifests. But I remember she was so upset because she kept saying, I'm a good person. And she was really upset about how the cops were treating her. She said, I'm a good person and I don't deserve to be treated like that. I'm a little more realistic. I'm kind of like, first of all, we're in jail. So we do deserve to be treated. The cops can treat us how they want because we got ourselves here. And we might say there's nice laws about how they should treat us, but that's not going to be the reality, right? When you're in an actual facility. And we were certainly treated better probably than most other jails because we were in the richest county in the country. But I remember her continuing to be obsessed about being a good person and being a good person. And I really thought about it a lot. She wasn't prepared to be challenged then. And if there's one thing you don't ever do, I promised myself before I went into jail, you don't challenge anyone because you can get really hurt. You have to be really careful. So, and she was a sweet pea, right? It's not like she was a problem, but I also didn't have the strength to approach these things in the right way. But I took what she said and I thought a lot about it. And it was about, we all can be everything. You're not just a good person, or you're not a nice person. Like, I can be nice, I can be a bitch, I can be funny, I can be serious. We all can be all these things, right? There is no good or bad person. Sorry, my Benny's sitting here. Put him on my lap with us. This is my Benny. There is no good or bad person, right? There's someone who's always changing and deciding who they are. So as long as I'm stuck in being funny or nice, then I'm stuck. And so I needed to be like a bitch, and I needed to be mean. I'd be a little crazy, but by choice, not by just being triggered, by like choosing those things. I really believe that we're supposed to have a lot of cards in our hand of who we are. And depending on the situation, I should be like, okay, here's nice me, here's mean me, here's, like, we already have those facets, but we're not really actively using them. And they're very not integrated to our personality. And it's like, you need to integrate these different emotional states into your personality so you can actually use them as you see fit, and they create what you want in life. And they don't randomly trigger and take things from you. If you haven't learned your anger card and you can't do anger, it's going to pop out in really damaging, destructive ways in your life. But if you can't do anger and you start to practice anger and you can get safe with anger, then suddenly it becomes a card in your hand. And when you're angry, it doesn't run away with you. You weren't scared. You weren't bringing all this extra amplified like energy, resistance energy, and fear energy to your anger. Like, oh my God, it's going to destroy me. Yeah. You're suddenly like, okay, I can choose to be angry, and I can choose levels of anger, and I can choose to step away if it's too angry, right? Like, you have to keep control. Same with your sadness. People that don't know how to get sad. If you haven't grieved, you're going to have to get super sad. You need to go get a bunch of love stories or whatever makes you cry, and cry for like a year and get super sad because you're backed up. And as long as you can't get sad, you can't get happy. Lucky enough, I had been crying and grieving for a while, but I do think a lot of this last year and the loss that it had was to help me flow more effectively with sad and not be as sad by sad. I'd be like, okay, that's sad. I'm grieving, and now I'm not, and continue to take that card back. So what's happened over the last several years of doing this channel and all the work I'm doing outside of it, right? So I've been posting on here. Obviously, I've been posting less because I'm in grad school, starting a business, doing other channels, growing myself, getting a following on LinkedIn, getting clients. Like, it's a huge process. But this has still been integral to continue to come back. The spiritual study was massive at the beginning, and I'll continue to come back more and more. But really to develop into being like a next level happy person, like a real happy person. And you don't get to go from not being happy to happy. You have to go through so many iterations and be willing to really look in the mirror a lot. I've taken some really big chunks of truth about myself. And while we resist that on the front end, it's so good now. Because now I'm just like, oh my God, I'm in vibrational alignment. I love that part of myself. Yeah, I'm a brute. Yeah, I spill stuff on myself. Like, I've owned that piece so much more. I don't need to resist who I am. And yeah, it's the most satisfying feeling. That's really all I can say, guys, is this is definitely, I'm getting into camp happy. This is what I've been working for, and it's still going to go up and down, but there's a different foundation to it. My husband also is changing a lot, and we're becoming who we need to be for this world as it's emerging. We're both very intelligent, very educated, massive leaders, sort of constantly playing idiots online, but that's also to humble myself. Since I've been an idiot online, I'm not gonna, being cool online won't run away with me as much, right? Because it's like, I've purposefully made myself sort of an idiot, be judged, to realize that it's all perception. I'm very clear that everything online is just perception. So if you love me, awesome, but it's just your perception, because how people experience video content doesn't go very deep. If you hate me, it ain't me. And that's helped me in my real life realize how judgmental people are in ways that I didn't realize until I put content out there. And I've started to realize, oh, I shouldn't be reacting to how people judge me in real life, because if they're judging me like how they judge me online, they don't even spend more than 2 seconds to get to know who I am. Don't ask a question and run away with so many assumptions. Have at it. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that I was taking it in before as real feedback on myself. And now I'm like, not real feedback. people are just silly. And that's fine. I don't mind people being silly as long as it doesn't have to do with me. They got bunnies for that. This is Poe. He's so good for me. He's helped me so much this last year, haven't you, Poe Bunny? Just so you know, male bunnies are pets like this. This is my male bunny. My female's over there. I love her. There she is. She's adorable. She loves to be pet, but freedom is her #1 priority. She does not like to be picked up or handled. As you can see, the boys are just love muffins. Isn't that funny? You would never know that about bunnies. Female bunnies can be great, but they're feisty. That they'll bite you and stuff. You know, your male bunny will just let you pick you up and handle. So definitely a sweeter pet. Oh, so cute. All right, guys. With that, thanks for letting me catch up with you. I'll talk to you later.